and he is their leading assist guy by a wide margin in ACC play.
Averaging almost 6 assists a game is the grad student Mutz, who plays in his 145th career game tonight against the Panthers. Federico and Basile get us started. Lee Cassell, Ramey Steins, A.J. Desai on the whistle, and we go from Blacksburg. And Nellie Cummings will set the table offensively for Jeff Capel's team that has won 6 straight and 8 of their last 9. And this is Federico.
Hokies open in the man-to-man, and remember, Pitt relies heavily on the three-point shot. You got to run them off the line.
Elliott against Collins. Henson squared away on a screen. Now here's Burton at the top on Cattoor from 16 feet. And the rebound from Mutz. Virginia Tech, no change in the order. Pedulla, Cattoor, Collins, Basile, and Mutz. And here is Basile missing with a 3, and Henson the rebound for Pitt. And no change there for Jeff Capel. Elliott, Cummings, Burton, Henson, and Federico, and there is Greg Elliott to push Pitt in front.
Wes Elliott attempts more than 3/4 of his shot from beyond the arc, but if you're going to run him off the line, he's certainly capable of getting inside the defense.
Elliott averaging 11 a game. Here is Mutz and a dunk. That's how you're the 5th best field goal shooter in the ACC.
And that's going to be an interesting matchup. Mutz and Henson.
Cummings on Pedulla all the way to the rim, Dan, to put Pitt back in front.
Cummings is only 6 feet tall, Wes, but he is very quick and he is strong. And that time, Pedulla didn't have any help, and Cummings got him right underneath the basket.
Basile has been red hot as of late, and a bump on Elliott. It'll be the first on Pitt. And Jeff Capel III, 70 wins at Pitt, 12-3. This is the best ACC record that Pittsburgh has had in their membership in the ACC. They have won 6 road games in the ACC. And looking for a 7th here this afternoon against the Hokies.
Wes, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they have really come on.
Cattoor. Second best three-point shooter in the ACC.
And that's what Elliott was trying to prevent the first time. And maybe because he picked up that foul, he was a little more conservative the second time.
Early lead for the home team. Henson driving Mutz to the basket. All the way to the baseline, got trapped. Here's Elliott with 6 to shoot. Another 2-pointer. Cleanly through for Detroit's Greg Elliott. And Ramey Steins is calling one of the students out from underneath the basket to swab the deck around the foul line. And Mike Young, a native of Radford, in his 4th year here, he's got 368 career wins. 5 NCAA trips with Wofford, or 4 with Wofford, 5 in the last 10 years as a head coach for Mike Young. Just a terrific, terrific basketball coach. 6'5". Here's Collins trying to weave off the Basile screen. Baseline blocked by Henson and scooped out of there by Cummings.
Both of these teams play really good man-to-man defense.
Federico and one.
No, they're not going to count it.
They're going to wave off the basket by Federico. It'll be a baseline inbounds after Cattoor commits the foul.
Well, Cattoor ran into him while he was catching the ball, and Federico had the presence of mind to throw it up to the basket. He's just a little late.
Catch and shoot 3, Henson. Long rebound for Cattoor. 3 minutes gone in Blacksburg. Basile traveled with it, trying to beat Federico.
And each team, Wes, neither one of them's a racehorse kind of basketball team, but they would really like to get the ball up the court to beat the other guys down and get easy opportunities. Basile going just a little too quickly.
Early sub for Jeff Capel. Nike Sabandi's come in the ball game to replace Greg Elliott, as Cummings handles the offense for Pitt. Cummings, a spot up on Basile is good. Boy, Nellie Cummings couple of field goals early for the Pitt cause.
Wes, he showed us he can get to the basket, but maybe the best part of his game is that pull-up jumper in the mid-range.
Panthers by 3, and Lee Cassell with a whistle.
Well, now the Panthers have a couple of fouls, Wes, and both of them have been committed against Cattoor.
Yeah.
Obviously, the defense is really concerned about cutting off his three-point shot.
Dan, we talk about the 3 levels of this game. It's the perimeter, it's the mid-range, and it's the rim. And specifically for both teams, they've got focal points at each level and priorities at both ends of the floor. Here's Basile, and he will go baseline, and an offensive foul called on Grant Basile by A.J. Desai. His first, second on Virginia Tech.
Now Basile is 6'9", 235, and Nelly Cummins just goes and stands there.
And Basile out, Lynn Kidd checks in. And there is Kidd, the junior from Gainesville, Florida, averaging just under 6 points and 4 rebounds in ACC play.
And a very different kind of player than Basile.
And there's Pedulla off the ball against Cummings, committing his first. Third foul against Virginia Tech.
Wes, both of these teams can be very physical, and if you're going to be physical out on the perimeter, then the officials are going to find you and call it.
Here is Burton, now for Sabandi against M.J. Collins. Step to the left, jump shot bounds away, and Virginia Tech has it as we've played 4 minutes first half, and a 3-point lead for the Panthers. Here's Pedulla, spot up 2, and the rebound for Henson.
Wes, neither one of these teams are great offensive rebounding teams. Really like to get the ball and push it if they could.
Here's the Charlotte grad student, Jamarius Burton, taking Mutz on the drive, and he will draw the foul. First on Mutz, 4 on Virginia Tech. Veteran play by pair of guys. Panthers the lead early in Blacksburg.
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes.
Wait, we got it in the end zone. My man. Well, you did tell the story when we were in Blacksburg a couple weeks ago that the Hokie bird pecked you on the head in front of the student section. So there's your head being pecked on in the student section again.
Oh.
By the way, there are a lot of people that want to take that home. And you'd be surprised of the list. Jamarius Burton, first of 2, is good. Third best free throw shooter in the ACC. Pittsburgh is number 2 in conference play behind Clemson.
Wes, the Panthers are number 1 in terms of three-point baskets made, but so far they've only attempted 1.
And Burton buys 1 of 2. 4-point lead for Pitt. Hokies have gone 2.5 without a point. Kidd on the floor with Mutz. Remember, Basile got the foul. Here is Justin Mutz. Gets it to Kidd. Explosive is Lynn Kidd. Now Mutz a 3. Front rim miss. Cummings turns and tries to put Pitt in transition. Federico, the layup.
Boy, Wes, he really runs. And he catches the ball much better now than he did at the start of the season. Panthers have to be aware of him, of his presence in transition.
Yep. 6-point lead for Pitt. Cattoor caught in a double team off the dribble. Here's Collins.
Boy, they're doing everything they can to prevent him from getting a look from 3.
Backing out Pedulla, now Kidd turns against Henson. In traffic, wraparound pass, and Mutz, a tough shot. Justin Mutz, his second field goal.
Wes, that was some pass, and Mutz was directly under the basket. I don't know how he could make that shot, but he did.
Bounce pass, knocked away, intended for Cummings. The Pitt turnover to Pedulla. All the way down, the layup rolls in. First points for Sean Pedulla.
The Panthers have been pretty good so far on defense, Wes, when they have set the defense, but you turn it over like that, that gives the Hokies a chance to get out and go.
4 in a row for Virginia Tech to cut it to a 2-point Pitt lead. Panthers have hit 5 of their last 7. Henson Comes to a stop against Mutz. Sabandi sizing up Collins. Crossover in traffic. Had it knocked away. Federico controls with 5. And he will be ticketed for travel. Quick reminder to you, this is game 1 of our doubleheader. Next, we'll send you to Derby City. They're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the 2013 National Championship team tonight with Clemson visiting the Yum Center. Joel Gaudette, Malcolm Huckabee are there for our coverage on ACC Network and always available on the ESPN app. And Clemson's postseason has essentially begun, Dan.
Well, Clemson, they got no room for error anymore, Wes.
Maligel Poteet has come in the ball game. He wears 34 for Virginia Tech, as does John Camden, who handles the ball on the dribble against Elliott. And then a block is called. I think Greg Elliott, trying to stay with Camden, will pick up his second.
And this is a huge foul against the University of Pittsburgh. Elliott is trying to stay with him, trying to get in front, never could. If you're going to draw a charge, you got to have both feet on the floor. You got to be facing the dribbler in one direction or another, and he simply was not. And all this discussion isn't going to help.
So Burton will come to the table. Elliott has 2 fouls. First free throw for Camden is good. Redshirt freshman from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, who transferred from Memphis after appearing in just 2 minutes of the first game a season ago for Penny Hardaway. And it looks like A.J. Desai and Lee Cassell have gone to the table here to confirm Elliott. And if not Elliott, then maybe Federico, Dan?
Well, I thought they made the call against Elliott, and I thought Elliott was the guy who actually committed the foul, Wes.
Another look.
Elliott is guarding the ball, and there's the contact. That's what gets Camden off balance, and so I think they're going to confirm that. Contact is right there as Elliott steps in to the driving Camden and knocks him off balance.
And you see then the second line was Federico.
But by the time Federico got there, Camden was already falling down.
Camden missed the second.
Now Elliott is a very important cog in this Pitt offense with his three-point shooting ability, and that's now Nike Sabandi becomes very important.
Yep. Pitt does not have a 3 yet.
They've only attempted 1.
Right. Burton working on Cattoor. Quick spin move. Gets him to the basket. And the missed shot is rebounded by Virginia Tech.
Cattoor is one of the better defenders in this conference.
Yep. Whipped inside Poteet. He'll turn with the right hand and score. Maligel Poteet has pushed Virginia Tech in front.
Well, Poteet, big and strong in there, 265 pounds, and used every ounce of it.
Cummings tried to fire a pass in, got deflected out of there, scrambled and picked up Cattoor. 7-0 run by the Hokies. Basile back on the floor to spell, and here's a 3. Oh my! Make it a 10-0 run now.
All keyed by the Virginia Tech defense, Wes. They forced some turnovers, forced Pitt into some tough shots.
Here is Burton. Back out front for Henson. Sabandi wants some help. Here's Federico for the screen, and he was moving. Offensive foul on Federico.
Wes, and you create that with aggressiveness on defense.
And so another turnover by Pitt. That'll be their 4th in the last 3 minutes, Dan. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech has been able to use the defensive end of the floor really to spark their offense, I think.
Wes, they've been able to get down the court before Pitt can really get set on defense.
Basile, Poteet, Collins, Cattoor, and Pedulla. Boy, Basile has been red hot, 20-plus in his last 3 and 5 of the last 7 for Mike Young. Here's Pedulla. Oh! Standing in the tee was Sean Pedulla.
Wow.
50th 3 of the year for the sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma.
Wes, I wasn't sure that one was ever coming down.
They're lucky it didn't burn up on re-entry. Here's Burton. Pittsburgh in need of a basket, goes to their leader. Rebound, Diaz-Graham underneath, knocked out of bounds, last touch by the Panthers. Well, almost not. Joe Lunardi after the noon games, and Dan, you get a look at this. Virginia 3, despite the close win against Notre Dame. Miami beat Wake Forest, NC State tomorrow, and Jeff Capel's team and Duke are 9 seeds. And here's a look at the details for Pitt, and I guess the thing to note today, they're 48. Virginia Tech is 66, so this makes this a quad one today for Pitt, right?
Right, if Pitt can win this game, that'll be their 6th quad one win of the season, which is a very impressive number. Now the Hokies, Wes, they've made 5 of their last 6 shots, and 2 of those shots have been 3-point baskets, and Pitt has really been trying to force it on offense. The Hokies doing a great job pushing them out of the lane.
13-0 run by Virginia Tech. And here is Basile, one dribble, knocked away Burton and recovered on the turnover. Here's Cummings. Back for Jamarius Burton. Hard dribbles against Basile into traffic. Burton trying to find a wall and scoops it around and in. Oh, what hard work for his first field goal. And it stops the drought for Pittsburgh.
Wes, you don't want to be working that hard every time.
Diaz-Graham recovers. Poteet had it knocked out of there by Cummings. And Nelly Cummings is going to be called for the foul. That'll be his first and the 5th on the Panthers. And Mike Young's team is out right now, but heck, they were out when they got to Brooklyn last year and found a way to make it as the champions of the ACC. But you see the 2 and 5 mark in quad one. This is not a quad one for them. It is for Pitt. Free throw, Poteet rolls around and drops in.
Russ, and that's because if you're at home, quad one is only 1 through 30 in the net.
Right.
If you're on the road, it's 1 through 75. So Virginia Tech is home, Pitt is 48. This makes this a quad 2 game for Virginia Tech.
Poteet got one of the 2.
But Virginia Tech is 66, and so Pitt is on the road, which makes this a quad 1 opportunity for Pitt. But it's an opportunity that they've squandered so far.
Sabandi, Cummings. Pitt is without a 3 so far in the game. Panthers came in.
Well, the defense has them pushed way out.
Burton will tee one up, and it bounces out.
Now, he is not, I mean, he can make a 3, Wes, but that's not the strongest part of his game. And I think if you're Virginia Tech, you're satisfied if your defense forces a contested 3 by Burton.
Mutz on the lob, Poteet the catch, taken away by Burton. Tremendous play by the Pitt leader. He'll go all the way to the rim, scoop it up, and it rolled off the backside where the Hokies turn and burn. Pedulla back for Poteet on the scoop, and a foul will be on Henson. It'll be his first. It is 6 on Pitt. Quick reminder to you, a doubleheader of women's basketball on Thursday night. Miami and Louisville at 6 o'clock from the KFC Yum Center. And then Carol Lawson and Duke host Diamond Johnson at NC State at Cameron Indoor Stadium at 8 o'clock Thursday night. All presented by Ally on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. Poteet now had averaged 7.5 minutes in his last 2 games, and he is now 6 of his last 9 at the free throw line. That's where all of his points have come from.
Well, Wes, he's part of a big lineup in the game, and he's going to leave now, but it's a big lineup in the game with Kidd now instead of Poteet, Basile, and Mutz, really creating some mismatch difficulties for the Panthers.
16-2 run by Virginia Tech has got them with a 8-point advantage. Pull up by Cummings, and a rebound for Kidd.
And one of the interesting defensive matchups we see out there, Wes, is Basile, when he's on defense, is matched up against Burton.
Yeah. We pondered all sorts of alignments today. We did not come with that one. They roll to the deck, and Diaz-Graham ends up locked up with Justin Mutz, and possession will stay with Virginia Tech as Federico checks back in to replace Guillermo Diaz-Graham for Pitt. And here is Pedulla coming back in for Lynn Kidd in Mike Young's lineup.
Yeah, so that big lineup was just to get Pedulla a breather. In fact, I don't think Pedulla was done with his breather yet. He was still drinking water over there, and they got him up off the bench, sent him in. He had finished his water while he was walking to the scorer's table.
Here is Burton guarding Mutz now. Backing down, Mutz the reverse and scores. Pretty play by Justin Mutz. He's got a half dozen.
Now he's got a size advantage, Wes, and he's such a great passer, you hesitate to double team him. Pitt's got to figure out a way to get inside this Virginia Tech defense.
The lead is 10. Burton. Sabandi off the screen. And Cummings had it deflected. It'll stay with Pitt, with 7 to shoot for the Panthers.
Boy, Virginia Tech's doing a great job handling the screens that Pitt is setting, and they're putting such pressure on the ball handler that he can't see Federico, who's open for a moment inside.
Quick inbounds for Burton, 5 to shoot. Back into the corner, Cummings a 3. Bounds away, Mutz has got the rebound for the Hokies.
Wes, they make more than 9 threes a game. They haven't made one yet.
Yep, and they've really been on a tear lately. Collins, wrap around for Kidd. Right back for MJ Collins, who squares. Cummings trying to find an alley.
Boy, Sabandi was alone down in the corner, but I don't think they saw him.
Burton a step back, got it. Jamarius Burton with 5.
Wes, he may not be able to shoot the 3 as well as some of his teammates, but boy, if he gets inside the arc off that dribble, he's pretty tough.
Basile wrapped up, had the ball stripped out of there by Federico, and now here's Burton. Once again, working against a bigger Hokie.
Oh no, he's not going to do that.
And Henson travels with it. Pitt turns it over. Virginia Tech has hit 6 of their last 7. They lead by 8. Throughout the arena. And Pitt is 7 of 17, Dan, but just 3 of their last 11. Meanwhile, the Hokies have hit 6 of 7, and they're shooting 61.5%. Cattoor on the drive. Burton tried to rake it out of there. Mutz has got it. Back out for Pedulla. Oh, a little crossover, and the layup rolled off. Trailing is Henson in a deep 3. Blake Henson on the board. That's his first basket.
Wes, that was almost as deep as the one I thought he was going to take before he got called for the travel.
Bonner Yee of little faith on Blake Henson's range. 5-point game despite the Panther struggles here, Dan.
Well, this is a great mismatch inside.
Mutz working on Cummings. Out of a double team, Basile alone.
And that's why you can't double team him, Wes. You know, that's really a tough thing for Pitt to handle. You got to get out and defend Cattoor so they get the switch, and then Mutz has a mismatch inside, and you double team to help Cummings, and immediately he passes for an easy basket.
Grant Basile's got 5 in the ball game on his second field goal. 10 to shoot for Cummings and Pitt. Trailing again by 7. Lob, Federico the catch. Straight up and lays it in.
That's a nice job by Federico to get behind Basile and then jump up and down so Cummings could see him.
6 minutes to go, first half. Here's Mutz inside, squeezing around and scoring. Justin Mutz now's got 8 in this first half. That's easy money for Mike Young's team, Dan.
Well, if Mutz can get it that close to the basket, Wes, he's going to be hard to stop. That's just great player movement and ball movement by the Hokies.
Yep. Virginia Tech has executed their game plan nearly flawless in this first half. There's a drive. Henson had it spin out. Federico controls it. And now he's got to find an open man, and it's Burton. And Burton will be ticketed offensive foul. First on Burton, it's the 7th on Pitt. Player control, so no free throws. But Dan, the sophomore from Finland, Federico, is bidding, in my opinion, to be the most improved player in season in the ACC.
Well, Wes, you can see his numbers over the last 16 games, more than double in the first 10 games. He has really improved, and that has helped the Panthers.
Basile a trigger on another one. Virginia Tech has hit 4 threes. 2 of them belong to the Wright State transfer, Basile. Lead back to 10, and Federico sets down the dunk.
Wow, that Federico has been able to get loose the entire game, and that's really the first time we've seen a lack of ball pressure handling that screen.
Collins, backdoor, Basile the layup. 10 for Basile, 8 for Mutz. 18 of the Hokies, 32 between the two biggins.
Way, way too easy, Wes. Just one layup after the other for the Hokies.
Yep. Here's Cummings. Bounce pass, Federico, the layup, and a foul. Well, what a pass by Cummings. And the foul will be on Cattoor.
Wes, this is a pass that Cummings doesn't even try to make to Federico earlier in the season, but Federico just streaks to the basket. Cattoor, he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he wouldn't try to make that pass to Federico earlier in the year because Federico would have had a hard time catching the ball.
6 points for the young man born in Egypt, raised in Finland. He's got 7 now. Danny at 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks for his first double-figure game in conference play the other night against Boston College. And here's the other stat. We showed you the points and rebounds. He has blocked 3 or more shots in 12 games this year, 7 of them in ACC play. He's an all-defensive guy, too.
Wes, he really helps the back end of that Pitt defense. He covers up a lot of mistakes. And the Panthers have made some in this first half. A lot of easy baskets for Virginia Tech.
Poteet back on the floor with Cattoor, Mutz, Collins. Here's Hunter Cattoor, missed badly on a 3. Cummings, and the Panthers try and attack. There's a lob. Federico was pushed in foul. That's on Poteet, I believe. Elijah Poteet, his first. That is 6 on Virginia Tech.
Wes, and Federico has suddenly become the focal point of the Panthers' offense.
Well, as we were visiting with Mike Young today, and he was talking about pressuring the perimeter, right?
Yes.
You said that may give Federico more of an alley to contribute. It's taken a while, but seemingly Pitt is trying to get there here in the final 4:07 of the half.
Well, Jeff Capel and his staff making some adjustments, seeing what's available. And it demonstrates a lot of confidence in Federico that they're trying to put the ball in his hands.
No shots for Federico. Baseline inbounds for Cummings. Double team on the perimeter. Elliott back on the floor. He plays with 2. Here's Burton trying to square up on Mutz. Drives him in the lane and scores.
He can make tough shots, Wes.
Whew. 7 for Burton. Hokie lead is a half dozen. And Diaz-Graham got tied up in the post and commits a foul. That'll bring us to a timeout. In Blacksburg, Virginia Tech by 6.
Outside, and Justin Mutz has been a dominant factor on the interior for the Hokies, slipping loose a couple of times and is able to score close to the basket.
And the Hokies have built a 6-point lead here in part because they've been able to convert Pitt turnovers too.
The Panthers have turned it over 6 times, and that has resulted in 12 Virginia Tech points. The Hokies hold a 12-4 advantage in points off turnovers. So, I mean, not really much of a secret. They've made a couple of threes. They've forced some turnovers, and their defense has been really good.
Cattoor at the line, first of the 1-and-1, hits the rim. Hunter's been fighting it a little bit. 7 of his last 20 coming into today. 7 of 19 from behind the 3-point line, averaging just 9 points. He has 3 in this opening half. Elliott on the drive, playing with the 2 fouls, missed it. Federico had a shot at it, last touch by Collins. It will stay with the Panthers.
And even when Pitt gets close to the basket, Wes, the Virginia Tech defense is contesting. Those are tough shots.
Yep.
And once again, it's Federico being really active on the inside that helps the Panthers keep that ball.
Cummings on the inbounds. Here's Burton, a little pull-up on the baseline.
That's his game.
9 for Jamarius Burton. Panthers to within 4 with about 3 to go. Kelsey Riggs, Joel Berry, Jordan Cornette take care of you at halftime. Camden cut loose a 3. And Poteet goes high to get the rebound. And the foul will be on Henson. His second, that's the 9th on the Panthers. Don't forget women's lacrosse coming up next Friday from here in Blacksburg. Jenny Levy has #1 North Carolina visiting Southwest Virginia. 7 o'clock start right here on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. Poteet is 3 of 4 at the line today. Has 5 points in this first half. And the first one rolls in.
Wes, we talked about Mutz and Mutz's activity on the inside, but Poteet has been very active in there as well. Big contributions.
Maligel started his college career at Rice. A year ago, 14 minutes a game, 8 points, 4 rebounds. From Reidsville, North Carolina, and the second one rolls in. 7 for Poteet. Pretty good half for the big fella.
Absolutely.
Lead is 6 again. Cummings off the Henson screen over the top of Poteet. And it bounces for Pedulla on the rebound.
Good positioning by Poteet, West, to just get a hand up.
Here's Pedulla all the way to the basket. Back for Poteet in the dunk. 9 for Poteet. Elliott tries to answer, cannot. Pedulla again, and bumped and fouled by Cummings. Second on Nelly Cummings. It's the 10th now on Pitt, and Maligel Poteet has tied his season high for a 3rd time in this first half with 9 points.
Wes, and he just followed the ball down the lane, and everybody went after Pedulla, and nobody stepped in to pick him up.
4th best free throw shooter in the ACC is Edmond, Oklahoma's Sean Pedulla. The first one is good. Got a nice note, Dan, today from Andy Demetra, who does Georgia Tech. He had, of course, seen Virginia Tech earlier this week. He said Sean Pedulla, as a sophomore, is averaging 15.5 a game. The last Oklahoma guard to average 15.5 was Mark Price.
So sophomore guards from Oklahoma, they're the 2 best.
There you go. Don't forget Steve Hale. He was from Jinx. He played at North Carolina in the late 80s, right?
Yeah, but he didn't average 15 points as a sophomore.
That is true. Nelly Cummings a spot up 2. He's got 6. The Hokie lead is 8. Inside of 2 minutes to go, first half at the Cassell in Blacksburg. Reminder to fans to download the ACC 3-Point Challenge app presented by New York Life that'll help benefit local boys and girls clubs. Score points for your school, and after the tournament, the local boys and girls club will receive a donation from New York Life based on their affiliated ACC teams' final ranking. A day oneer on the app is my man Bonner. You've been tackling that since day one, huh?
I got to get my grandson to play it. He's pretty good at it.
Carson takes over. Good point. 1:41 to go, first half. Hokies used a big run to create this margin, and it's 8 right now for Mike Young's team. Here's Basile teeing up a deep one. Missed badly, and the long rebound. Collins right back at him. Now for Camden. 15 to shoot.
Wes, did that ball ever hit the rim on the
I'm
first shot?
not sure it did, Dan.
They made that shot clock maybe shouldn't have reset.
Here's a corner 3, Collins. And the rebound, Sabandi. And no worse for the wear, except a few seconds.
Doesn't make any difference.
Doesn't matter now, right?
And it may have hit the rim.
Here is Sabandi, and a foul on Camden. as Nike Sabandi draws the first on the freshman, 7th on Virginia Tech now with 1:03 to play. So 1-1 for the Indianapolis senior from Crispus Attucks High School who transferred from Miami of Ohio.
And the Panthers are at their best, Wes, when Sabandi is scoring off the bench. And he hasn't scored so far today.
Nope, had not. Only had 6 the other night against Boston College and missed the front end of the 1-1. My goodness.
Boy, that ball spun up there oddly, didn't it, Wes?
Yep. Hokies can take a double-figure advantage to the locker room, possibly. Pedulla. Uh-oh, Diaz-Graham fell down, and then he picked Basile. What a recover by Jorge Diaz-Graham. After the crowd oohed and awed, here's Sabandi trying to find momentum. Couldn't with the triple. Pedulla to the races.
That's a good job by Pitt to get back. That's almost like a turnover when you miss a three-point shot that way.
And 2.5-second differential, shot clock to game clock as we wind down this first half. And Mike Young's going to use his 30 here. And we will step aside. 8-point lead for the Hokies. Final stretches of half one. Virginia Tech an 8-point lead in the ball here as we wind down this first half. Hokies come in, they won 4 of their last 7. Upset the other night in Atlanta, Dan, to Georgia Tech. But 11-3 at home, 4 home wins in the ACC. Here's Mike Young's club.
And what did Jeff Capel tell us this morning? That he was afraid they'd be playing against a desperate team?
Yeah.
We've not only seen a desperate team, but an efficient one.
Boy, sure have. Here's Pedulla, 5 to shoot. Kick out, Basile. 13 in the first half for Grant Basile, and that'll take us to the locker room. What a half for the Hokies, huh?
Well, it's as well as they've played in a while, Wes. They're making shots. They're playing really well on the defensive end.
The point lead as we go to our Subway game refresh, an 18-2 run in the first half, and the Hokies have not looked back. Meanwhile, Jeff Capel's team, who came in here averaging 12.6 threes in their last 3, have but 1 in the first half.
Well, and the amazing thing about that, Wes, they only have 6 attempts. You talk about running somebody off the three-point line. Well, that's what Virginia Tech has done.
Federico inside the offensive rebound, and the foul, I believe, is Grant Basile, and it is. It'll be his second. It's number 1 to start the half on Virginia Tech.
Now, Wes Henson took that shot, and it was a 3, so they didn't run him off the three-point line, but they ran him so far back behind the three-point line. That was a long shot.
Yep. He was standing where Pedulla hit from in the first half. And Ramey Stein's a little game management here off the inbounds. Cummings for Burton. He'll drive it, foul line on Basile.
I think Basile might have got a piece of that, Wes.
Been a tough half for Hunter Cattoor as well offensively for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, but he's been really good defensively. He's
No
made
doubt.
Burton work very hard for everything Burton has got.
Here is Cattoor. Came into the contest 15 points away from becoming the 50th player in Hokie history to score 1,000. Here's Mutz. That got deflected. Basile collects. 3 to shoot, reversed and fouled. And it is on Cummings. So the grad transfer from Colgate and Midland, PA, Nellie Cummings, draws his 3rd. And that'll put Grant Basile to the line.
Well, Basile's got himself a mismatch on the inside, and Cummings doing everything he can to fight him. But, I mean, there's just nothing a 6-foot guy can do against Basile. But that 3rd foul, that is a big foul because Nellie Cummings is a key to a lot of what Pitt does. His ability to get the ball into the lane is a big factor in the Pitt offense.
Basile gets 1 of 2. He's got 14. He's got 11 straight double-figure games. Told you in the first half he'd been on a tear, 20 or more in 3 straight and 5 of the last 7, including a 33-point game against Boston College. Elliott, here's Henson. The lead a dozen for the home team.
And the Panthers standing around a little bit, Wes, and that's what good defense does. to a team that emphasizes ball movement and player movement.
Federico and one. 10 now, 2 straight double-figure games for Federico. His 5th double-figure game of the year.
And he just runs to the basket. Basile, a very poor job blocking out. But Federico, Wes, he looks really skinny, but he is stronger than you think. That was a power move right there.
Young man from Finland's got 3 years left in the program at Pittsburgh, and he missed the free throw, but Burton got the rebound. How many more can the Panthers add on here at this end of the floor?
Well, they need to start adding, Wes, because Virginia Tech is in total control of this game.
Cummings all the way to the basket, and he's going to draw the foul. Ended up in the photographer's laps along the baseline.
Wes, now, he drew a foul right there, but that's a perfect indication of the problem that Pitt has faced. He drives the lane. He's got 3 guys after him. Who'd they call that foul on?
Sean Pedulla.
Okay.
Which is his 2nd and the 3rd on Virginia Tech.
Well, Poteet came into your picture there very quickly to close it down.
2 shots for Nelly Cummings. He's got 7 in the ball game.
And he's only missed 2 free throws in conference play. Well, 3 because he missed 1 in the first half.
And that spins out. That's on you, by the way.
No, it's not.
Minute and a half gone, half 2. 9-point lead for Virginia Tech, trying to pick up their 16th win. It would be their 6th in conference play.
Federico's now trying to guard Mutz. That's to keep Federico closer to the basket.
Collins, here's Mutz. And Federico moves his feet but draws the foul. It'll be his second on Pitt.
Well, you're reluctant to leave the three-point shooters to help out with Mutz, but Mutz is quick enough with the basketball that a guy the size of Federico is going to have a hard time moving his feet and staying in front. Now they switch, and Hinson's matched up against Mutz.
Pedulla. Now here's Mutz. Quick bounce pass inside.
Federico's going to get called again.
And that's his 3rd. 2 in a row. And the 3rd on Pitt already in the half. Both schools have 3, and we haven't played 2 minutes. 6 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the half. Another look.
Just great positioning by Poteet on the inside, and Federico comes over the back. And not only does he come over the back, but he comes over the back right in front of the official.
Wow, Elliott took a screen from Poteet and an offensive foul called. Maligel Poteet's 2nd.
Poteet is a big guy, and Elliott is not. I think that's a pretty tough call against Poteet. He just was a big person.
Pitt gets the ball, and there's an offensive foul on
That's
Federico,
4.
and that's 4. That's 3.5 on Federico, and with 17:45 to go, 4 fouls on Federico, and Guillermo Diaz-Graham from the Canary Islands will have to replace the sophomore from Finland. Poteet against Diaz-Graham. Now Cattoor firing away and hitting. 6 for Cattoor.
Wes, I don't care whether he's been struggling or not. He can get rolling.
Sure can. The Case Award winner last year at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And Cummings is fouled by Poteet. 3rd on Poteet and the 5th on Virginia Tech. And a look at the 3-point field goal made leaders. A.D. Vasayo, 260s. There's some pretty good names on that list, by the way. Wally World Lancaster. Oh, the Bimbo and Wally show of the late 80s in the Cassell. Here is Henson sneaking through. Lob, Diaz-Graham mistimed it.
Well, I think Henson missed through it, Wes. You don't throw a lob like that. I'm not sure that was a lob. He may have been shooting that ball.
Yeah, it might have been. Nonetheless, it's still a 12-point lead for Virginia Tech.
And the Panthers look discombobulated again on offense.
Sure do. Poteet turns it over, stripped out of there. Here's Cummings. Elliott now trying to drive through against Collins. And Ramey Steins will call MJ Collins for the foul. It'll be his first. It's the 6th on Virginia Tech.
Well, they did not rule this a shooting foul, Wes. And again, you see them run him off the three-point line. That is a great job by Collins to force Elliott, who wants to shoot the three, to put the ball on the deck.
Henson had the three spin out. Diaz-Graham the rebound. Elliott tries to answer and does.
Well, so what's happening is the Panthers, to make a three, they got to keep backing up.
They got to miss a shot too.
Yeah.
That was an offensive rebound, second chance triple from Greg Elliott. Pedulla wants to answer and launches. Pittsburgh trailing 11, or 9 rather. Here's Diaz-Graham the catch and score.
Boy,
Guillermo's first bucket.
He got lucky there, Wes. He turned and he brought the ball down, and Pedulla almost had it. But that's a big basket for the Panthers. They got to do something to change the tempo of this game.
7-point lead for the Hokies. Mutz inside, offensive foul, Justin Mutz. That'll get us to a timeout. Second on Mutz. That is 7 on Virginia Tech, and we get a timeout. For racial and social justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 18th through the 26th as ACC Unity Week, and we're happy to be a part of it as well as we rejoin you from Cassell Coliseum. And even with a 7-point lead, Dan, foul trouble looming for Mike Young's club here.
Well, Wes, foul trouble's a big factor in the game. We've already had 11 fouls called in the half, and we haven't played 5 minutes yet.
And Jeff Capel's got some too. Federico
Absolutely.
with 4.
Well, and Cummins with 3.
And now Burton, Cummings, Henson, Diaz-Graham, and Elliott return for Pitt. Pedulla, Cattoor, Mutz, Maligel Poteet, and MJ Collins are out there for Mike Young's club. And the Hokie head coach was fired up going to the timeout a moment ago. Here's Elliott against Collins. Nice pass, Diaz-Graham catching layup. Second bucket for Guillermo, the older of the twins by a couple minutes.
Well, Wes, and I think that the Panthers really have to attack because they're already in the bonus.
Collins. Here's Cattoor for 3.
Wes, that's 2 in a row for him.
Yep, 9 for Cattoor. All 3 of his field goals from behind the bonus line. And Henson.
Cattoor's going to get called for the foul.
Sure is. 3rd on Hunter Cattoor, is the 8th on Virginia Tech. Now, don't forget, following our coverage here from Blacksburg, off to Louisville you'll go. Tigers and Cards for a second time this year at 7 o'clock Eastern. Joel Cadet, Malcolm Huckabee standing by at the Yum Center on ACC Network and always available on the ESPN app. First of the 1-and-1s for Blake Henson is good.
Wes, and this could be a key factor for the Pitt Panthers because every time they get fouled, they're going to shoot for the remainder of this game, and there's a lot of time left.
Missed the second one. So it's a 7-point game. Here's Mutz out front. Now Pedulla with Burton defending. Poteet's had a terrific game for the Hokies. Equaled his season high in the first frame with 9. 8 to shoot. Mutz.
Oh, what
Poteet,
a pass!
And a foul will be called. Lee Cassell. And it is on Blake Henson. It's his 3rd. It's the 5th on Pittsburgh.
Wes, this is just some pass. He drives into the lane. There's hardly any room there at all. He's double teamed, and then Cummins is standing in the background ready to pick it off, I don't think Cummins ever anticipated that that pass could be made.
2 shots for Poteet. And the first one gives him a season high 10 points. First double-figure game in a Virginia Tech jersey for the Rice transfer Maligel Poteet. And Mutz is out, and Basile has come back for the Hokies.
Wes, Poteet's performance has really been significant. It's a great lift off the bench for Virginia Tech. And Pitt, that relies on guys coming off the bench, most notably Sabandi, they still don't have anything from the bench.
Yep.
Well, I take that back. Diaz-Graham just scored a couple.
12 bench points for Virginia Tech today. Cummings step back 3 on Pedulla is strong. Diaz-Graham touched it last, and Ramey Steins originally awarded it to Virginia Tech. A.J. Desai wants to help him out, and now they'll change it. You get a look at home.
Battling on the inside, and clearly Basile was the last guy to touch that ball.
Good piece of teamwork by the officiating crew. And
boy, Cattoor and Burton are really going at it.
Right. And Ramey Steins, rather than be very demonstrative, just walks up there with his arms folded to say, hey guys, turn the volume down a little bit here. Cummings, hard drive to the basket. Oh, skip for an open Henson. Couldn't knock it down. Burton recovers and scores. 11 for Jamarius Burton.
Wes, that was a great job by Cummins to set up that three-point basket. But I'm telling you, if the Panthers cannot make threes, they're going to really have a problem coming back in this game.
7-point lead for Pitt.
Remember, Henson has 3 personal fouls.
Basile a 3. Slapped out Poteet.
He's just made one good play after another.
Sure has. Basile spinning. Oh, what a tough shot. 15 now for Grant Basile, or 17, I'm sorry. 16 for Basile. His first field goal of the second half to go with a free throw. Here's Elliott on the drive and an offensive foul. That'll be his third. 6 second half fouls on Pitt.
This is a really good move by Basile. He's guarded by Henson, who's in foul trouble and has to be careful. And we've seen Basile make the 3. That's just a really nice move on the inside. But again, he's taking advantage of a guy who's in foul trouble.
Elliott comes out of the game.
And you can see nothing new for Basile. He's been fabulous for Virginia Tech.
Dan, you talk about having a strong finish to the regular season. Grant Basile's putting one on here now.
And the Virginia Tech defense continues to do a great job running the Panthers off the three-point line. Elliott picked up that foul because they drove him off the line and forced him to drive, and that's 4 fouls on Henson.
So Blake Henson walks away on the 7th team foul against Pitt. And 4 on Henson with 12:53 to go.
Wes, and that's just a bad play on Henson's part. He's got 3 personal fouls. You don't want to pick up your 4th on a play like that. That's almost a giveaway.
4 for Henson, 4 for Federico, 3 for Elliott, 3 for Cummings. And the free throw, Cattoor, is good.
Wesson, what an important spot for the Diaz-Graham brothers to be in the game.
Yep, 25 is Guillermo, 31 is Jorge. And both are on the floor at the same time. Cattoor missed the back end. He's 1 of 3 at the line.
And Wes, I think what you're going to see the Virginia Tech defense do is push out even further on the three-point shooters.
Out front, Diaz-Graham. That's Guillermo missing a 3. Jorge battling inside. Lost the rebound to Basile. 10-point lead for the Hokies. Pedulla all the way for the scoop.
Wes, you get unfamiliar lineups in the game playing together. It's not only hard to play offense, but it's hard to play defense. And the Panthers are in trouble, Wes.
Yep. Down 12 with 12 to go. Pitt needs a takeover guy, Dan. Burton. Diaz-Graham a 3. And the rebound for Guillermo. off the Jorge miss. Here's Cummings, skips to Jorge for three. Good. The 8th three of the year is the first points of the day for Jorge Diaz-Graham. Boy, I tell you what, the legendary voice of the Panthers, Bill Hillgrove, he's had a fight on his hands with these two this year. Back after this.
Running a food pantry can be a lot of work.
With the Game Time app, I pay 60% less than this guy.
60%?
Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price. Download Game Time now. Nice shirt.
Online personal styling. What's that?
That's Stitch Fix.
And how can you help me?
We do the shopping for you. You tell us your size, budget, and style.
Wait, is it a subscription?
Nope.
Style for me?
For me?
For me.
Always. We'll pick the clothes. You enjoy the great fit. Stitch Fix.
Well, it's a 9-point lead for Virginia Tech, 55-46. And our big Bo moment is brought to you by Bojangles. And this is 7-year-old Chase O'Brien from Roanoke. He designed Mike Young's shoes for the Shoes for Hope initiative last month. So Chase is an honorary starter today for Virginia Tech. There's the work he did on the shoes. And here's when he's announced to the crowd. And good for you, Chase. He is a patient at Carilion Children's, which is in a great partnership here with Virginia Tech athletically. A delightful young guy. And you see he had a press conference. He was asked more questions than Bonner was at his last press conference.
Well, if he had a press conference, he's had one more than I. At least one.
Yep. But what a great treat for that young man. And our best to Chase and his folks, who also got pretty good seats out of the whole deal, I might add. Here's Pedulla. Now Cattoor with Sabandi. 10 to shoot for Virginia Tech, and Pedulla all the way through, sneaks a pass inside. Collins had it blocked, and that was Guillermo who knocked it away from MJ Collins. And we will step aside as they tend to MJ Collins. Back after this.
It's bow time.
Well, the good news is MJ Collins seems to be okay, although Dan Bonner told him before the game, be careful now with the mask, because when you got that mask on, it doesn't mean that you're absolving of another hit, right?
Well, he got smacked right in that mask by Diaz-Graham on the blocked shot attempt. He got a tooth knocked out against Miami, and then the next game against Virginia, he broke his nose.
And Mutt's inside, and a reach from Cummings, and he now becomes the third Panther with 4.
Wes, that's just really good movement by Mutz.
Yep, sure is.
And that's a couple of times now. He's gotten loose in there on that same type of play.
First trip to the line for Justin Mutz, 61% on the year. Don't forget, Thursday night is Ladies' Night on ACC Network. Doubleheader of women's basketball for you. Miami and Louisville at the Yum Center get us started at 6. And then at 8 o'clock, number 9 Duke hosts NC State. All available, presented by Ally on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app. 10 for Mutz, 7 straight double figures. 21st double-figure game of the year for the grad student from Millville, New Jersey.
Well, Wes, there is still plenty of time left in this game, but the Panthers have to get something started. I think the next 3 or 4 minutes are going to be critical for Pitt.
Here's Burton trying to take Collins inside. Strong move and a hoop. Jamarius Burton's got 13 on his 6th field goal. Well, if you're Jeff Capel, you got to hope to find the takeover guy, right?
Well, absolutely. And Burton is normally their takeover guy, Wes, but he's been under such heavy defensive pressure all day. He needs some help. Collins,
Poteet, who's had a terrific afternoon for Virginia Tech. And before that collision,
yeah, somebody grabbed onto him.
A.J. Desai.
Nike Sabandi.
Sabandi gets his second, 9 on the Hokies, or the Panthers.
This is what the official sees right there, Wes. And Nike Sabandi had his arm wrapped around him. Sabandi got screened, and he's trying to get around in front of Poteet, so Poteet can't roll to the basket. But Poteet's just too big and strong, and Sabandi gets called for the foul.
Poteet is 7 of 8 at the free throw line tonight.
Wes, remember we talked about the fact that the Panthers had a big advantage because they got to those 7, they get to the 1-and-1 early, but no advantage now.
Missed the front end of the 1-and-1. 9-point game. Burton against Pedulla all the way in. Couldn't buy the basket.
But again, a very tough shot. Pedulla with good defensive pressure stepped out of the way at the last minute so he didn't get the foul.
John Camden in the ball game, the redshirt freshman, and that got knocked away last touched by Pitt, although Diaz Graham was litigating.
Remember at one point, Wes, the fouls were 7-4. Virginia Tech, 7 for Virginia Tech, only 4 for Pitt.
Yeah.
And now it's Pitt 9 and Virginia Tech 8.
Yep. 34 fouls have been called in the ball game, Dan. And 17 in each half.
And some key guys are on the bench.
Here's Poteet. $13 from Elijah.
They list Diaz Graham at 205 pounds, and I think that's optimistic.
There goes Jorge, and a pass to brother Guillermo for the basket. 6 for Guillermo.
Now, the Panthers are hanging around, Wes.
Basile has been also very good today for the Hokies. Cross court, now back to Poteet, right up on Diaz Graham. And Jorge the rebound. Elliott tees up a 3. Nope. And it's a wedgie. And we're going to get a foul
on Camden.
And John Camden will be called for his second. 9 on Virginia Tech.
Now that was a foul, Wes. He was battling inside for rebounding position. So it'll be a 1-and-1. Camden is number 11. He's at the free throw line. As the shot goes up, he turns around and he just pushes Diaz Graham. Yeah, that's a foul.
Guillermo Diaz Graham from Tenerife and the Canary Islands has a 1-and-1. He is a 62% free throw shooter. First one in. 7, all here in the second half for Guillermo.
Wes, and that's 9 fouls now on each team, so for the rest of the game we'll be shooting 2. And of course everybody was excited because if he misses 2 in the second half, they get bacon.
Yeah.
You know, they give away potato chips at North Carolina, and they give away fast food chicken at North Carolina State, and I admit those are 2 of the higher food groups, but bacon, I think, is the better.
Here's layup by Collins, no good, and a whistle on the miss. And it is on Guillermo Diaz Graham. It'll be his first. 10, as Dan told you a moment ago, now on Pitt.
Well, the reason the foul is called here, he's up in the air and he gets fouled after he releases the ball, but before he comes back down, Wes, and you have to give a guy a chance to come down. That's the airborne shooter rule.
Collins will shoot a pair. He's 77% at the line this year. And the first point of the day for the freshman MJ Collins. Michael Anthony Jerome Collins Jr. is MJ.
That's very impressive that he can be back at the line, that he can even see straight after getting hit on that mask.
And both free throws good too. Lead is 9 with 9 to go.
The Panthers really haven't been able to chip much further away than 9.
Nope. Here's Elliott working on Camden all the way to the basket. And the left-hand layup for Greg Elliott.
And that's a nice play by Elliott, but again, Wes, they didn't let him attempt the three-point shot. They got out there and forced him off the line.
They have, in the ball game today, Pitt has but 3 threes total. 1 in the first half, 2 in the second half. 5 is their season low. Hanging 2 by Collins, rolls in. Well done, 4 in a row for MJ Collins at Virginia Tech's end of the floor. Remember now, they got 2 guys sitting over there with 4 fouls. And that's Jorge Diaz-Graham for 3. Burton had a shot at it, lost it, tried to get it back. They roll to the deck, and last touch by Pitt. Sabandi, I think, may have grazed it. And under 8 to go, a 9-point lead for Virginia Tech.
Interesting piece. Let me bring it.
Well, 3 weeks from tonight in Greensboro, we will crown the champion of the New York Life ACC tournament at the Greensboro Coliseum. And if the season ended right now, because I say that, if Pitt loses today, that quarterfinal order changes a little bit, Dan.
Well, and if Virginia Tech wins today, the first round changes a little bit too, because Virginia Tech and Florida State will swap places.
So that's a quick check of where we would be in less than 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Jeff Capel, who is the clubhouse leader, if you will, at 12-3, has to win because Virginia withstood a Dane Goodwin open 3 at the Horn today in Charlottesville.
Boy, they dodged
to hold
one
on 57-55.
They dodged one today.
By the way, congrats to Kihei Clark, became the Cavaliers' all-time leader in assists, and ironically broke John Crotty's record with old 22 in the building. Basile at 3.
Boy, that is a big basket. Just when Pitt thinks like maybe they're crawling back into it, Basile knocks down the 3, and now it's a double-figure lead again.
Yep, he's within a point of his 4th straight game of 20 or more and 6 of his last 8. Burton, soft fall away, rattle around, and it's recovered. Jorge threw it up there. He couldn't score it. And Cattoor with it in the corner, and they play on. Neither coach particularly enamored with the whistles.
Well, when are coaches ever enamored with the whistles, Wes?
Under 7 we go. 12-point lead for Virginia Tech. Pedulla trying to weave through Diaz-Graham. A leaner rolls off. Oh, and Sean got it back, and a held ball will give it to Virginia Tech.
Wow, Pedulla was coming out of there with that ball anyway. But Pedulla does a great job just taking it away from Diaz-Graham. And Wes, to be honest with you, look at the way those 2 guys are built. Pedulla has a few more muscles than Diaz-Graham. He just took it right away from him.
Cattoor on a spot throw in.
And Jeff Capel can't wait anymore. He's got Federico, and Hinson back in the game.
Yeah, both play with 4 with under 7 to go. And here's Basile. Dumps it inside, and another held ball. This one will go to Pitt. Justin Mutz is on the floor. He's returned to the lineup with Collins, Pedulla, Cattoor. It's the original starters, in essence, for both schools. Now for each school.
And I tell you what, if the Panthers are going to come back, Wes, they got to start making some threes. And the Hokies have really limited their 3-point opportunities.
Sure have. Terrific defensive effort, Virginia Tech. Here's Cummings. Bounce pass, Federico through traffic.
Boy, nice little move there with the left hand.
A dozen for Federico.
Well, okay, you scored if you're the Panthers. Now you need stops.
Pedulla tried to dump it inside, deflected away. Here's Burton, a turnover. Skip it for Hinson. All the way in.
He just fouled out.
Sure did.
Boy, you could see that coming from half court, Wes.
Blake Hinson, who came into this game on a tear, is going to foul out with 4 points.
And Basile was just standing there waiting for him. If you're Hinson, you have to recognize Wes and get stopped.
And Hinson fouls out for the 4th time and the 3rd time in ACC play.
Well, Wes, and he only made 1 field goal today. You can see, averaging almost 16. He had 4 tonight.
Yep.
He's only got 4. Sabandi hasn't scored. It's really tough for the Panthers to win that way.
Here's Pedulla. Mutz, now Collins, trying to get it to Basile. Don't forget now Federico's playing with 4. And Basile lost it, got it back, threw it up. And let's see, this might be the second on Burton. Or is it the 5th on Federico? It's the second on Jamarius Burton. Dan, here's the other part too. Virginia Tech noted for lots of threes, very perimeter-based, bombs away type scoring. They've done this today, getting dirty on defense.
Well, they've done it with a great defensive effort. And you talk about shooting threes. Well, yeah, they've made a couple. But Poteet has come off the bench and played extremely well on the inside. Mutz has done some damage on the inside. They've been able to drive the ball to the basket. But you're right, Wes, it was all keyed with their defensive effort.
Basile hit one of the 2. And it'll belong to Pittsburgh. Don't forget, following coverage tonight from Louisville of the Tigers and Cards, Kelsey Riggs has got Joel Berry and Jordan Cornette in studio to join her. Boozers at the All-Star game, and Luke Hancock's at the 10-year reunion of the 2013 National Championship team tonight in Louisville. So full coverage of the day in ACC basketball with nothing but net follows the Tigers and Cards, and a foul on the Nelly Cummings drive will be against Basile. It'll be his 4th. And 10 now on the Hokies with 5:20 to go.
Wes, that 5:20 to go is a key because Nelly Cummins driving the ball to the basket and getting fouled, taking a really tough shot. If you're Mike Young, you don't mind that. You'd rather not have the foul. But if they're not shooting threes, I don't know that they have enough time to come back in the game.
First one, in and out.
Here we go, Wes. This is the Bacon shot.
And we're talking about a 92% free throw shooter.
Well, that's some pressure, Wes, when Bacon is on the line.
The dejection in the building always fascinates me. I mean, the coupon for the Bacon goes by the boards, and the place is just crushed.
Well, who wouldn't want a coupon for Smithfield Bacon? I mean, we said that's a wonderful giveaway.
Here's Poteet, Pedulla, little floater, too strong, and Sabandi the rebound. 10-point lead. Nike around Cattoor, and the layup good. First field goal, though, as Dan alluded to, it's been a very quiet day for the Panthers' star 6 man.
That's a nice job by Pitt to push the ball up the court.
8-point game. Mutz calling for it against Burton.
Burton is a strong guy, but I think Mutz has the advantage here.
Pedulla, 3.
Oh! And that was under pressure.
A dozen for Pedulla. Virginia Tech's got 5 guys in double figures now. The lead is 11. Burton against Mutz all the way through and scores. 15 for Jamarius Burton.
Well, they just traded 2 for 3, Wes, though. That's not a formula for a comeback.
Yep. Inside 4 to go. On the drive, Collins cannot get through against Cummings. 10 to shoot for Cattoor. Challenges Burton. And that'll be the 5th on Elliott, or 4th on Elliott, rather. Greg Elliott commits the foul. And a timeout. Virginia Tech will have the ball. 9-point lead when we come back to Blacksburg. Kenny Pickett. No.
I say that's Kenny Pickett.
No, that's the jersey.
Oh, it's the jersey. Oh, I say
not
Kenny.
the heralded rookie quarterback of the Steelers.
It's interesting he took some time off to be here, but okay, not him.
Here is Justin Mutz at the line after the 4th foul on Greg Elliott. And the free throw by Mutz is good. Well, and the struggle is real for the Panthers at the 3 line today, Dan. 36% coming in, 19 is the number today. Meanwhile, the Hokies have shown their form after, quite frankly, some struggles.
They really have had some struggles. For Virginia Tech, they've played very well defensively tonight, but if they're going to beat people, Wes, they have to put the ball in the basket, and they have done it at a great rate tonight. Shooting almost 54% overall, 50% from 3, and they've made 9 threes.
Yeah.
and 70% from the free throw line. And here's Cummins driving the ball to the basket, and he's going to get fouled, maybe get the old-fashioned three-point play. But the defense by Virginia Tech in running Pitt off the three-point line has been very impressive.
And the free throw good.
The Panthers get almost 40% of their offense in conference play from three-point shots. And when you eliminate basically that particular aspect of their game, it makes it really hard for Pitt to produce enough points to win a game.
Fourth consecutive game of 20 or more now for Basile. He's got 22 now. He has been really good in the last half of the regular season here in the ACC. Burton tried to get Mutts in the air. 10 to shoot. Sabandi high off the window and in. Just 4 now for Nike Sabandi.
Well, and that drops the lead back to 8, and so it's not like the Panthers are completely out of the game, but they've got to force some turnovers here, Wes.
Hokies got 3 timeouts. You see on the board 2 for the Panthers.
And Virginia Tech can afford to take their time if they choose to do so.
Yep. Cattoor wrapping all the way through. Oh, Collins took his eye off of it. There's Cummings. Nelly plays with 4, as does Federico. Right back to Collins, who went for the dunk, and the foul will be called. And Collins is down again on the Burton foul, which is his 3rd. Collins went for the dunk, and boy, I think MJ Collins, wearing that mask, took another shot around the face. Sure did. Oh, and landed for boot.
Oh my.
So Collins is being tended to. Hisham Zaoud is their 4th-year basketball trainer. He's out with David Jackson, the former Hokie player who's in their strength and conditioning.
Wes, again, he lost a tooth in the game at Miami.
Right.
And then he broke his nose in the game here against Virginia.
And
he's been hit a couple of times in that mask today.
Yep, 2nd time in this half. And there's going to be a timeout taken here. So with 2:20 to go, a timeout. Pitt will go to their bench, and Mike Young has come out to make sure that his freshman from Clover, South Carolina is good. MJ Collins is playing with the mask. He's playing with a mouthpiece.
Well, but again, Wes, that mask is just hard plastic.
Yeah.
And so if somebody's going to hit you on that mask, it doesn't do very much to cushion the blow. Doesn't do anything to cushion the blow.
Right. So this young man who has come in, started the last 7 ball games, had 12 at Notre Dame, but only 3 points the other night in the loss in Atlanta, where, by the way, he had nearly 40 tickets. Folks that have come from the Clover to see him play in Atlanta.
Get a load of this guy. He's staying in the game.
Tell you what now.
This is one tough guy.
He's going to win the ACC Tough Guy Award this week.
Good heavens.
I know they don't issue the Tough Guy Award out of Greensboro with Rookie and Player of the Week, but if they did, Collins would get there. My goodness.
Good heavens.
And he and Burton understand it's, Jamarius a touch of class, of course, just to say, hey, look, no harm, no foul. Didn't mean to do it like that, and MJ understood, and we're ready for free throws. A couple of them here for the rookie. And it bounds away. So it is an 8-point game, and 2:20 left to go. Pitt needs the win to stay tied for first with Virginia. And the second one is good for Collins. A loss today would put them behind both Virginia and Miami. They would go 1st to 3rd. And Clemson, who follows us at Louisville tonight. So Collins comes out, and Maligel Poteet has come in. So here is Sabandi and Pitt down 9, and Nike on the drive to make it a 7-point game.
Well, as long as the Virginia Tech doesn't turn it over, Wes, I don't think Pitt can catch up 2 at a time.
Sabandi has 2 fouls. Burton has 3. Everybody else on the floor plays with 4. Pedulla with 10 to shoot to Mutz. Cattoor shot fake. No foul on Elliott, and here's Poteet easily laying it home.
Well, Wes, I think that was a good no call, but what happened was one of the Pitt players went down, and Virginia Tech had a 5-on-4, and they took advantage.
Sabandi fouled on the reach by Mutz. That'll be his 4th, so free throws coming for Nike Sabandi. With 91 seconds left to go in the ball game. Joel Godet, Malcolm Huckabee standing by. They'll join you live from Louisville when we're done here. 7 for Sabandi, all in the second half. Tigers and Cardinals played earlier this year. Louisville had it in a 1-possession game with about a minute and a half to go. Should be an interesting test. They played Virginia to the wire the other night.
They sure did play Virginia to the wire the other night. Tony Bennett said before the game that he thought Louisville was getting better, and the Cards didn't prove him wrong.
Clemson could do no wrong, speaking of that,
on
Wednesday night against Florida State. Cattoor with 12 to shoot. Poteet looking at Basile. And now here's Cattoor. Hunter, a step back. That's a 2, and it's good. 9 in the half. 12 in the game. He's 3 away from 1,000. Burton's triple no good. And the rebound, Cattoor, with under a minute to go. And a 9-point Virginia Tech lead.
What a performance by Virginia Tech, Wes.
Here's Basile. Short on the 3. Burton the rebound. Half minute to go. Elliott. Spot up 3 over Mutz. Missed it. Got it back. And will draw the foul from Basile and shoot free throws. And that's 5 on Grant Basile. He's going to foul out with 22 points. Dan, it's his 4th straight game of 20 or more and 6 in his last 8.
Well, Wes, in 2 of the back-to-back games, he had 33 points.
Right.
And it was really interesting seeing that was the first time that anybody's had back-to-back 33-point games since 2003 and Eric Green.
Oh, man. Talk about go-get-it numbers.
Talk about somebody who can put numbers up on the board.
2 shots for Elliott. First free throws of the day. And that's good. 10 for Elliott. 6 here in the second half. It's an 8-point game with 23 seconds left. And Jeff Capel's not sacking the bats yet, folks. He's got 1 timeout left to go, and I got to believe he's going to tell Elliott make the free throw, and Pitt's going to press here. See if they can force a turnover.
They don't really have enough time, Wes, but this is what you do if you're a coach. And see, the problem is, Wes, the Pitt Panthers, this particular incarnation, they are not going to win a game if they only make 3 3-point baskets.
That's right. Yep. Their DNA as a team is based on threes. And don't forget now, if this turns out to be their 8th loss of the year and they're 4th in the league, they have a quad 4 Tuesday night, a quad 3 next Saturday, a quad 3, and Dan, a regular season finale that might be the biggest game of the final day in ACC play. When you think about it, it's not beyond that game could determine the regular season champion.
Absolutely.
Second for Elliott, good. He's got 11 in the game. Federico is out, and Jorge Diaz-Graham is checked in.
Well, now, Wes, if you get an immediate steal and a 3, then suddenly it might be interesting.
Here's an inbounds to Pedulla. The trap is on in the backcourt. And here's Cattoor fighting through. 15 seconds left. And Virginia Tech We'll watch Pitt just back off, and the Hokies are going to go to 16-11 and 6-10 in the ACC. Pitt will fall 19-8, 12-4, and they go from first to third in the standings with the loss here this afternoon. Terrific performance by Mike Young's team.
Well, great performance by Virginia Tech on both ends of the court, Wes.
Grant Basile leads 5 Hokies in double figures, and they will welcome Miami here on Tuesday night. Pitt will host Georgia Tech